Every boy grows up being sold the same silent script. If you like her, chase her. If you want her, prove it. And if she pulls away, try harder. Movies show men running through airports, begging in the rain, giving grand speeches just to win her back. Songs glorify heartbreak, obsession, and emotional collapse as proof of real love. And without noticing, men start to believe that the more you chase, the more you deserve her. But here's the brutal reality no one tells you. The moment you start chasing a woman, you quietly teach her that your life is less valuable than her attention. You signal that her reactions matter more than your mission. Her approval matters more than your standards, and her presence matters more than your self-respect. And from that moment on, the dynamic is set. You chase, she chooses, you prove, and she judges. Most men never escape this script. They spend years orbiting women who don't even respect them, mistaking anxiety for love and desperation for devotion, not because they're weak, but because no one ever told them the truth. You don't win attraction by chasing her. You win attraction by refusing to abandon yourself. When you chase a woman, it doesn't just change how she sees you. It changes how you see yourself. You start checking your phone every few minutes. You rewrite messages 5 times before sending them, and you overthink every emoji, every delay, and every word she uses. Slowly, your nervous system learns that her attention is the regulator of your emotions. If she replies, you feel calm, and if she pulls back, you feel panic. This isn't love, it's emotional addiction. You lose your natural rhythm. You stop doing the things that made you interesting in the first place. Gym sessions become optional. Work feels empty without her validation at the end of the day. And time with friends feels pointless unless you can tell them something new about her. Chasing isn't just showing interest. It's when your center of gravity moves outside of you. You lose your frame, that inner stability that says, I know who I am, where I'm going, and what my life is about, with or without you. The more you chase, the less she has to invest, and the less she invests, the more you chase. Attraction isn't built on effort. It's built on tension, not toxic tension, not screaming, drama, or mind games, but the natural tension between 2 separate lives with their own ambitions, schedules, and standards choosing to meet in the middle. When you chase her, you take the tension out of the dynamic. And once that tension disappears, everything else follows. She no longer has to wonder where she stands with you, because you've already shown her. And she doesn't need to question whether you have options, since your behavior makes it obvious you don't. From there, she doesn't have to think about what you're doing, who you might be with, or where your life is going, because in her mind, it's already settled, and in her view, you're available, always waiting. Humans don't value what costs them nothing, and that's exactly why the same woman who scrolls past 50 good morning beautiful messages without feeling a thing will end up obsessing over the one man who doesn't send any, the man who's too focused, too disciplined, too driven, living a life that doesn't revolve around typing paragraphs for her attention. And that's not cruelty. It's just human nature. People are drawn to what is scarce, what is focused, what is moving forward, and chasing does the opposite. It signals that you're common, idle, and stuck, no matter how good your intentions are. You can buy flowers, write essays, send gifts, and pour your heart out. But if your behavior says, "I'll drop my whole life just to keep you," her attraction slowly drains, not because she dislikes you, but because her nervous system cannot respect a man who abandons his own path just to avoid losing her. Most men misunderstand this. They think that if they stop chasing, it means they don't care. And if they don't text first, they're somehow playing games. And if they choose to walk away, it makes them cold or heartless. When in reality, none of that is true. There's a crucial difference between caring about someone and sacrificing your entire identity for them. You can care deeply for a woman and still say that you won't negotiate your standards, that you won't beg for her presence, and that you won't destroy your routine just to keep her entertained. Caring is respecting her time, listening when she speaks, showing up when you say you will, and protecting her when she's with you. It's steady, grounded, and real. Chasing, on the other hand, is double texting after being ignored, canceling your plans just because she suddenly says she's free, apologizing simply to stop her from being upset even when you've done nothing wrong, and compromising your own values just to avoid losing her. And that's what quietly kills attraction. One path leads to trust and mutual respect, while the other slowly turns into silent contempt, the kind she'll never say out loud, but will definitely feel. A woman might enjoy being chased in the moment, but she only truly respects a man who can care for her without collapsing for her. A man who can show affection without losing himself in the process. Now, here's the shift that changes everything, the part most men never realize until life forces them to. You're not meant to chase her. You're meant to chase a life that makes you proud to wake up in the morning, a life that stands on its own legs, with or without anyone beside you. So ask yourself a brutal grounding question, one that cuts through all the noise. If she disappeared tomorrow, what would be left of you? Not the version of you that lives for her replies, not the version built around her attention, but you, the man underneath all of that. If you took her out of the picture, ask yourself honestly, would your days still feel meaningful? Would your routine still stay disciplined? Would your goals still matter? Most men quietly fear this question because deep down they know the answer is no. Their entire life is built around a woman they don't even fully have, a woman whose presence they're trying to earn instead of a life they're trying to build. But the men women actually become obsessed with, those men are already in motion long before she arrives. Their calendar is already full, their goals are already alive, their body is already trained, their money already has a plan, and their mind is already being fed. She's stepping into a life that's moving, not a life waiting for her to start. Women aren't just drawn to looks or charm, they're pulled toward momentum. Man who's building something, who's moving forward, who's growing day by day is always more magnetic than a man sitting still and waiting for someone to choose him. It's the motion that pulls her in, not the waiting. When your life is heavy with mission, everything about you starts to shift. Your tone becomes calmer. Your movements become more decisive. Your time naturally becomes more valuable. You don't reply instantly because you're mid-set in the gym, mid-task at work, mid-conversation with someone who matters. Not because you're playing games, but because you're genuinely busy living your life. And that's the life she actually wants to step into, not the empty space you keep cleared, just in case she replies. Nothing reveals a man's strength faster than his boundaries. A boy will entertain almost any behavior as long as there's a chance she might stay. A man, on the other hand, draws a clear line. This is what I tolerate. This is what I don't. And I'm not here to punish you, argue with you, or lecture you about it. If the line is crossed, I simply leave, not out of anger, but out of self-respect. Boundaries aren't about controlling her. They're about controlling yourself. You don't tell her she's not allowed to talk a certain way. You simply decide you won't stay if she disrespects you. You don't demand that she stop texting other guys. You just decide you won't invest in a woman who keeps you as one of many options. You don't beg her to reassure you. You decide you won't remain in a place where you constantly feel like a backup plan. And your power isn't in forcing her behavior, it's in choosing your own. The man without boundaries always ends up chasing, and the reason is simple. He has nothing anchoring him to himself. So he tolerates mixed signals. He tolerates last-minute cancellations. He tolerates constant tests and emotional games. And then he sits there wondering, why does she treat me this way? But the truth is, it's because you trained her to, you taught her that no matter what she does, you'll stay. You'll keep chasing. You'll keep hoping. You'll keep negotiating for scraps of respect. A man with boundaries doesn't threaten to leave. He just knows when it's time to stop asking for basic respect and quietly start walking toward the door. It's easy to say don't chase, but the real question is, how do you actually stop when your emotions are already involved? You don't start with your feelings, you start with structure. You rebuild your routine around your mission, not your attachment. You decide your non-negotiables, your gym time, your work blocks, your study, your creative work, and your sleep. These happen whether she texts or not because they're your spine, the things that keep you grounded and moving forward. Limit your pursuit. You can initiate, you can show interest, but if the energy isn't returned, you don't escalate. One invite, not 5. One call, not 10. You watch actions, not excuses. If she says she's busy but she's online all the time, you believe the behavior, not the story. And if she keeps forgetting plans, you believe the pattern, not the apology. This is how you protect your energy without turning it into a game. Keep your social life alive. Friends, family, hobbies, and your networks. You need multiple sources of connection, so your entire emotional world isn't hanging on one woman's response. And when discomfort hits, You sit with it instead of trying to fix it by running back to her. When that anxiety rises, the urge to text, to check, to chase, you don't act, you breathe, you let your body settle, you train your nervous system to handle uncertainty. That's the muscle of masculine stability being built. Right there in the moments when you stay grounded instead of reaching out. You don't become stronger by getting constant reassurance. You become stronger by staying present in the moments when reassurance doesn't come, because that's where your emotional weight is built. The less you need from her, the less you cling, the more clearly you see who she actually is. You start to see whether she's genuinely good for you, or if she was just filling a hole you never wanted to fill yourself. Every man eventually faces this moment. Things feel good. She's engaged. She's responsive. She's affectionate. And then out of nowhere, something shifts. Her replies start to slow down. Her energy drops. Plans turn vague. And suddenly she's confused or not sure what she wants. It feels like the entire vibe changed overnight, but what you're really seeing is a test of your stability, not the end of the story. Most men respond by instantly turning the dial to maximum. More texts, more calls, more reassurance, more emotional begging that they disguise as honesty. They think doubling their effort will bring back the connection, but all it really does is signal panic, not confidence. But distance is data. When she pulls away, she's showing you something. Maybe she's losing attraction. Maybe another guy is in the picture. Maybe she only liked the attention, not you. Or maybe her own fears and patterns are starting to take over. Whatever the reason is, the pullback itself is information, and your job is to read it, not chase it. Whatever the reason is, chasing her through that distance never fixes it. If she genuinely values you, space gives her room to feel that and to miss what you bring. And if she doesn't, no amount of extra effort can manufacture attraction where there is none. Space reveals the truth that chasing always hides. You walk away not to manipulate her into coming back, but because you refuse to compete for a position that's supposed to be earned through mutual effort. Silence isn't a game, it's a boundary. It's you saying, if you're unsure about me, I'm sure about me, and that's enough. That energy isn't cold or distant, it's simply self-respect, and self-respect is what creates real attraction, not chasing. The point isn't to become emotionally numb. You're not trying to be a robot who never feels, never cares, never gets hurt. Real strength is feeling deeply without letting those feelings make you abandon yourself. You can love a woman and still say, I will not beg. I will not lower my standards. I will not compete with your indecision. Because healthy love isn't built on chasing. It's built on two complete lives, choosing to walk side by side. She doesn't have to be perfect, and you don't have to be invincible. But you both have to be willing to invest, to show up, and to respect each other's selfhood. If only one person is investing, it's not a relationship, it's worship. And men are not meant to worship women. Men are meant to build lives, carry weight, and invite women into that reality, not as queens of their emptiness, but as partners in a story that's already in motion. So here's the core idea, compressed to its essence. Stop asking, how do I make her stay? And start asking, what kind of man would I be proud to be, even if she never arrived? Because when you chase her, your world shrinks. But when you chase your life, your world expands, your standards rise, your options grow, your presence deepens. The women who used to ignore you can feel the shift without you saying a word. You're no longer reaching up for their attention. You're moving forward, and they either keep up or fall away. You don't have to convince anyone to choose you. You simply become the man whose life is too rich, too real, too grounded to waste on chasing. And in the end, the paradox is simple. The less you chase women, the more you attract the kind of woman who actually respects you. Build that life. Lead yourself first. And let her be the one who looks at you and think, I don't want to be chased by him. I want to keep up with him.